Welcome back, Turfs Up Radio. We are back live. How was that for a short break? We just had to give a little respect to the presenter that was coming on after lunch, and because there's nothing worse than having somebody talking in the back of the room. I mean, I do a lot of presentations myself, and you don't think you're bothering somebody because you're in the back of the room, but you just hear it, and you hear it, but you don't hear it, and then you're thinking, I wish they'd shut the hell up. So we're giving them the respect to, they were kind enough here at Woodhaven to give us a little room to come into. And but I'm here with Jake with New Farm. Jake, appreciate you taking a few minutes to be with us.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on.
And you had a very informative presentation earlier before lunch. It's always fun before lunch, isn't it? When you're that guy, it's like everybody's like they're attentive because they're hungry and wanting to, better than the after lunch guy.
That's right.
Because after lunch,
Yeah, it's very good to be on before lunch but you don't want to hold them from lunch. So you got to make sure you're on time too.
Yeah, that's right. It's like coming back from lunch. You're like, I always joke about it when I come back and I'm on after our lunch break. I'm like, all right, everybody, open your eyes up. Come on, you just ate heavy, and
right.
it's time to stay awake and let's get it done.
That's right. You get into a little food coma there.
But tell us a little bit about what you do with New Farm and what y'all's products are about, if you don't mind sharing that with our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Jake Green. I've been with New Farm coming up on 6 years now. My background's turf grass management, so I did a BS degree at Eastern Kentucky University and worked in the golf course industry for 15 years before coming over to New Farm on the sales side.
Okay.
So, New Farm's a herbicide manufacturer, fungicide, insecticide as well. And my role is being a regional sales manager. I cover 5 states for us. Throughout Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan,
That's a lot of running.
It's a lot of running, keeps us busy, and but I love it. It's good to be out on the road, and the goal is to be out, work with distribution, work with our end users, and help provide solutions.
With your experience, not only educationally, but on the golf course side, and now I guess some lawn care operator side and whatnot, it's 2 different animals, right?
Yes, for sure.
I mean, just from myself being involved with the lawn care side for 45 years is what our lawn service has been in business. We can't time things as well sometimes for a large customer base. And I'm not saying golf course management's easy. It's not. None of it's easy by any stretch, right?
No, definitely not. They, both sides have their own problems.
Yeah, and they're trying to keep grass looking right at 1/8 of an inch or whatever they're cutting those greens at.
Right.
So it's its own set of problems. But, it's like we try to get our timing for our products down right. But, in lawn care, if you're guys servicing even a couple hundred accounts, limited number of accounts, it's hard to get everybody timed out right.
Correct. Yeah, especially when those timely ones in the spring or in the fall.
Yeah.
Pre-emergence for sure. If you're there 3 weeks apart from when you started to the last guy, you might have missed your window. So it's definitely can be critical.
What are the products that you guys offer? What have you seen differently? I know you've been there 6 years. What do you see different within the industry as a whole? First of all, what transitioning from whether it's education or just the contracting as itself or how much interaction do you see with lawn care operators?
Yep. It's definitely, for a good thing, education's really become more important for everybody. So, a lot of our distributors are offering education classes like we're at today. And then I just feel the industry as a whole in the lawn care, it's better educated. The lawn care operators are educating their customers much better. The use of the internet and everything's right at hand. So
Right.
Everything wants to be more instant. So that's one change is everything's immediate now. You're walking around with the computer in your hand basically, and
Right.
everybody expects immediate results, and that's the one.
We
major
call
change.
it exactly. We call it the pizza mentality at work, where Domino's ruined us. 30 minutes or less. Here's your pizza, and unfortunately, and we talk about it all the time too, that Google or internet has made our customers more dangerous.
Yes.
They're more educated to a certain extent, but when they Google something, it may not apply to Kalamazoo, Michigan, or Louisville, Kentucky, or Sarasota, Florida, but they don't read that part of it a lot of times.
Correct. Yeah, they're instant professionals now, right? So
Yeah.
it makes your job a little harder, and but
They've almost forced us into being better educated,
correct.
which is a good thing, because I swear this is a true story. I remember this goes back to 1987 when we first started treating lawns, and we were a slow learner that we could make some money treating lawns. We spent too much time mowing grass.
Yeah.
We still mow, but nothing wrong with that for you guys out there that are mowing contractors. I'm not saying don't mow lawns. I'm just saying there's some money to be made in other services as well. Diversification is your key to success. But I never will forget there was a gentleman here, and I'll call him out. Jack's a good guy, but his name was Jack Kelly, and so I went to the wrong source for help at first. And I'm like, because he was treating lawns. And I'm like, Jack, how much of that stuff does it take in your tank? And he says, about 3 clugs. I'm like, clugs? And he's like, yeah, clunk, clunk, clug. And I think he was telling me the truth. Jake, I swear, I think he was telling me the truth.
Yeah, so being better educated is a good thing.
So better education not only is going to save you money and get a better result, and because clugs might cost you more money than it needs to.
Yeah, you don't know if that lawn was costing you $5 or $25. Right?
Yeah, so I appreciate the professionalism, and that's what I've seen too. In my own traveling across the country and talking to contractors, for the business side of their business. I don't talk about what you guys talk about. I leave that up to you guys. Y'all do a great job at that and know more than I do with it. But I try to help them with the business side of their business. And that's the thing we all need to understand, that if we're going to do something, or we're going to decide, hey, we're going to use a particular product, whether it's a fungicide, insecticide, herbicide, the labels is what we really need to go by, right?
Yeah, label's the law, and that's what you want to follow. So, yeah, you were talking about the business side of it. It's a full package, right? If you have the education on the herbicides and the products, that's one part of it. But if you don't know how to run a business, you're not going to be as successful either, and vice versa. So it's kind of...
So tell us a little bit about the New Farm product, if you don't mind. Boost it. Here's a good opportunity. And
so New Farm, we're one of the leading manufacturers of herbicides in the U.S. Our parent company is based in Australia, so we're an Australian-based company with U.S. manufacturing for our turf and ornamental business. Okay. So, a lot of exciting things coming out. We have multiple herbicides that are just been launched and will be launched, along with some more fungicides and insecticides as well.
How much change have you seen across the country, or I guess Canada too, if that's an area? I know that's not your specific area, but you probably hear about that. Daniel and I were just talking about that when you walked up, about how certain areas of the United States, certain cities and whatnot, and different countries where the regulations getting more and more on what can and can't be applied, and we're looking more toward the like soil amendments, and it's really better management practices.
Correct.
Not just to keep throwing nitrogen at something. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, a lot of these rules and obviously the laws and the labels are put in place for good reason. So, with the university data and testing that the manufacturers do with their products, following the label is going to be your best bet to being safe, doing what's right, and protecting the environment. So, yes, these rules and laws, they're there to protect us. With the internet and people becoming their own professionals, is it getting a little more difficult to manage sometimes? Yes, but follow the label. That's the law.
That's the law. And I think we'll wrap that up with that today. It's follow the label. It's the law. More's never better.
Correct.
Would you agree to that? I mean,
absolutely.
That's something Dr. Powell taught me that many, many, many years ago. He just, more is never better. And I guess he was joking, but halfway serious. He said, Wayne, he said, I want y'all to think about it this way. God rest a man's soul. I love him to death. And I would like to know what he's forgotten over the course of his life prior to him passing. But but he said, think of it this way, and I'm not talking bad about any manufacturer out there at all or chemical distributor at all. He says, if it would take 3/4 of an ounce, 3/4 of an ounce would be on that label. If it's a half ounce, know that a half ounce or maybe even a little less is going to get the job done. So that's the main takeaway. One of the main takeaways I took from Dr. Powell was, more is never better.
Yeah, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing.
That's right. So with that being said, we're going to hop off here. Jake, I appreciate your time and certainly doing this with us today. And what's up for tomorrow? You taking the trip up the road to?
Nope. Yeah, I got Covington tomorrow, so
good deal.
Another education event.
Well, how important? I know you've touched on it, but just if you'd reiterate that one more time for us, the importance of education for the industry, because that's what we key in on Turfs Up Radio. Is our mission is to help elevate and educate the industry to be more professional.
Yes. Well, as good as you are at your job or role, you could always be better, right? And hearing something one time doesn't always stick with you. So a lot of times it takes multiple times to hear it before it really sinks in, and you can make better decisions, based on that.
All right. Well, safe travels, my friend, and we certainly appreciate your time and appreciate you sharing your education with us here in Louisville. And I'm sure those guys up there in Cincinnati area and Northern Kentucky are going to look forward to not only getting their CEUs and keeping their license, but know that it's more than CEUs that you guys are giving us.
Yep.
It really is. I know you hear it a lot. Well, God, I got to go get some CEUs, to keep my license. But it's really the knowledge and the education that you guys give us that we really, honest to God, I think most of us appreciate.
Yeah,
I really do.
Absolutely. I appreciate having me on. And, you listen to somebody get up there and speak for 45 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever it is. But if you can pick up one solid thing that you'll implement out of each talk,
it's a good day, isn't it? It's a good day. All right, we're going to sign off for now. We'll be back on with more live coverage here at Woodhaven Country Club here in Louisville, Kentucky. Thanks to Advanced Turf Solutions and Jake and New Farm for their participation in this and helping us be a better industry. We'll see you shortly.